Hey there, hi there, oh there it is. It is Fridays for Future. Fridays for Future's Peace Plus One. Join the fun in Conscience Land. We are right outside a bell tower. Now, what's a bell tower? A bell tower has the old-fashioned bells. Now, why is that even important? Have you heard a bell really recently? I mean, for younger people, have you even heard a bell in your whole life? I mean, a real bell, a real big clanging bell. Dong, 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 dong. You know, in Europe and in China and many, well, pretty much everywhere in the world, we used to use bells. Bells were a way to communicate information over distance because you could hear a big bell quite far away. The sound would carry very, very far. And during wars and invasions and so on, the bells would ring and that would warn people that something was happening, so they could get out in the street and ask each other what was happening in their community. Well, bells also, over the many millennia, have, and it depends what you want to believe and what people have told you, and what you want to believe people have told you is true. Everything in life is frequency. Everything is frequency. Our existence, our material beings, our material substance is really just frequency. And all frequency is also sound. Sound is the original frequency, right? Sound frequency. I mean, there's all sorts of different frequencies. There's also, X-ray frequency, very, very high frequency, and very low frequency, the rumbling of the planet itself, the frequency of the planet, the Schumann frequency. But bells are specific. Bells in pretty much the full range of what bells ring. I've never heard these bells ring. I don't think they do ring. I think that most of the ringing of bells has been suppressed. I think we don't hear bells ringing anymore. And I think there's a reason for it. I think it's because bells, you're not going to believe this. You're going to think I'm nuts. But it's not me. It's not my own observation. It's my observation, but it's also observation of many people throughout the ages, and certainly in the maybe since the Second World War, when bells started to be destroyed, right? They started to destroy, to melt down the bells, and take the bells out of the belfries. There was an effort to eradicate the sound of bells, because the sound of bells is actually very uplifting. It's very spiritual. It's very high frequency. Bells, they say, drive out the demons, right? Evil people can't stand bells. They can't stand the sound of bells. Maybe the smell of them too. I don't know. They can't stand it. So, that's pretty interesting, right? The people who have arisen into powerful positions to be able to destroy, remove the bells from so many places in our lives, they don't like bells. Their bells to them are like silver and garlic to vampires. They don't like they don't like bells. And so that's why I'm standing outside these bells, is because we're entering a completely new phase in our existence, in our world. I've been listening to some very, very good authors, very good thinkers. One guy in particular, he's a former banker and investment person and investment banker, and the usual sort of, I have very little good to say about these people who don't produce anything. All they do is spin money around in different directions and derivatives and all the rest of it, and they just make money out of money, and they don't do any good for society. They feed no children. They don't raise any consciousness at all. They're trapped. But anyway, this guy, he got out of the trap basically, and he had some epiphanies, he had some realizations, he had some awakenings, and he went deeper into it, as I have as well. I've always been sort of I have always been mainly on the outside of society's norms, and I realize in listening to this chap and the guy interviewing him that yes, it's also my experience, is that when we see the world, and the title of this is Peace Plus One, Fridays for Future. What's the meaning of peace plus one? When I think about it, and when I listen to these other people speaking about it, and I realize my own writings and my own projects and my own websites and apps, the new app coming out very soon, they're in alignment with this thinking. And the thinking is, and the realization is, and the waking up to it is, that we are one. That's it. We're one consciousness. We call it God, call it Source, call it the Big Bang, call it whatever you want to call it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have a name, right? It is what is. It's the universal mind. It's the universal consciousness. And we are simply meatbag vessels through which that consciousness experiences life on this plane. That's it. It's not more complicated than that. So the peace, of course, is what we all seek. We seek peace. We don't seek chaos and upset and suffering. We don't seek it. We get it, a lot of it, but we don't seek it. And the one is the one. It's the observer. It's the watching of what. It's watching the watcher. It's watching us experience life, and the awareness of the awareness. The awareness that we are aware, and that we sense, and we feel, and we touch. The guy used an analogy of touching a table. Is the table real? Well, if you look at it at a nano scale, it's not. It's just space. Is our hand real? Well, yes, in connected to our body and at the frequency that we're existing, yes. But what is it that is really happening? And what's really happening is the feeling. We're sensing our hand touching or resting on the table. That's what we're experiencing, the sensation of that. Is it real? Well, is anything real, right? Is it really just the cosmic mind? And you think this is woo-woo stuff, and that's okay. I understand. There's a lot of people, who have really not got the imagination, and because it's not their fault. It's because they never learned this in their upbringing. Their parents never had any discussion, sort of metaphysical discussion with them. Their schools most certainly didn't have it. Even spiritually guided schools, like religious schools, they don't really talk about this at all. They talk about the rules. They talk about their particular religion and their particular activities that keep them separate from others. That's not reality. The reality is we're all one spirit. We're all one thing. This is why when I was listening to the podcast of this chap, whose name I will put later on in the notes when I pull it up. His name was Mark, but I can't remember his last name. As he spoke about this, and I imagine he's not. Anyway, it doesn't matter what faith he is. The point is. When I listened to him speak about this, it struck me, and I have spent some time now in countries around the world where Islam is the primary religious belief, And when I hear this chap talking, who's not Muslim, he says things that are completely from the teachings of Islam. You know, that if to hurt or to injure another is to injure all, you know, and yourself. To do anything that is hurtful and causes suffering in the world is causing suffering to all the world, and it's also causing suffering to you. You don't realize it at that point, but that's what's happening. And it just struck me that that is so interesting to me now in my later years, that, you know, all the religious talk that I've heard all over the years, and, you know, particularly from the primary religion that I grew up with, and I wasn't really exposed to other religions, you know, in a discussion form, only intellectually speaking about them, but not in discussing with people who were practitioners of different religious beliefs. It would appear that this Islamic view is much closer to the scientific realization of our existence than the other older religions, because it has some recognition that it is actually, first of all, it's a direct experience between yourself and source, right? So whatever your religious classification or belief system, it doesn't matter. You're all part of source. It doesn't matter what you think about that. That's a fact. Oops, probably very windy. So that's a very big fact, is that you are part of source. So whatever you have the illusion of being a part of a separate group that has, you know, the right to do such and such, and over another group that doesn't have the right to do such and such, it's completely delusional. It's completely delusional. And so I mean, this is a call for you to look at your own religious beliefs. Look at your own religion, and see how much it is about. Regardless of what it says in its sort of biblical or Toranic, you know, in its sort of Old Testament type of way. Don't look at that. That's inconsequential. Written by people over centuries, and it's written by the people who win. You know, who powerfully control others. So don't look at that. Look at the actions, the behaviors of people following that religion today. And if they are not kind, if they are not introspective and looking, you know, like, for instance, I just spoke about one religious belief where those people go inside 5 times a day. 5 times a day they meditate on their own internal world, and which is far more realistic than the other ones who go around, you know, dropping bombs on people or having crusades or you know, murdering people because they're not of the true religion. So that is the evidence in your actions. I think this is what is very interesting to me today in these times, because you're hearing more and more about nationalisms and religious nationalisms and separation and walls and all this. You're hearing more and more about this. And where is that coming from? Who's saying that? Who's promoting that? And I would say it's the religions themselves. I would say it's these old traditional religions, mostly Abrahamic religions, but actually all of them, you know, because they're all interpreted by humans, and the humans distort them, or the powerful humans distort them to serve the interests of the powerful. So all these religions are tainted, all of them, some less than others, and some, as I'm mentioning, appear, and I'm not saying it's completely true, because of course people say they follow something but they don't actually follow it, right? They associate with it but they don't actually follow the rules and the objectives of it, and so we need much more of this In ConscienceLAND, we call it ISR, individual social responsibility. We need more of that. And the ringing of the bells, that used to raise the frequency of the individual to the point where they were thinking about community, and they were thinking, what's going on? Why is my frequency level being asked to rise up? You know, literally look up at the bells, look up at the sky, look up at heaven, find out what's coming. Is it a storm? Is it an invasion? Is it a plague? Like what's coming our way, and how is the community in solidarity coming together to protect us all? How is that happening? And it's my ISR, it's my individual social responsibility to make that happen. So it's so interesting to me. I mean, most people are absolutely not awake. You know, they're absolutely on the treadmill, and it's so interesting to me because it's a total loser treadmill. When we look at the capitalist society today, we look at the places where, and when I say capitalist, I'm really talking about centralized authoritarian. I'm not. Capitalism is not bad in itself. It's just simply a means of raising capital. But if it's raised capital to make the powerful more separate from the rest of us, no, I don't want it. I'm not supporting that. I'm not supporting separation. I'm not supporting domination. I support decentralization and float all the boats. If capitalism, and it can work, if capitalism in a very local sense helps young entrepreneurs and older entrepreneurs to establish income for themselves and provide a service to the community, fantastic. That's part of ConscienceLAND citizenship, is that we must support those people. They've put investment into providing service to you. Now you have to serve the community by buying from them, not buying from a big branded corporation that sends all their money to Chicago or to Atlanta, Georgia. Like you're doing the opposite of supporting your community. You're taking from the community. You're draining the community of its cash flow, internal cash flow. And you don't deserve, honestly, as a citizen of your whatever country or region you're a citizen of, you don't deserve the support if you're not investing your money and time and effort to serve your community. In other words, do your part to make sure the water's flowing, to make sure there's food in the community, to make sure everybody's fed, everybody's safe. If you're not doing that, you don't deserve to be there. Like who made you king? Like that's no, you shouldn't even be there if you're not in some way, depending on your capacity. But everybody has the capacity to help in some way. It might be even motivating others to help. If you're an old man, you can't do much yourself. You can inspire and motivate younger people to be part of the solution, right? Not just help you, but help the whole community. So all that exists. We can do it. We've been doing it for thousands, hundreds of thousands of years as a civilization. That's how we got here. But the challenge is now we're so separated. We're so separated. We're forced into separation by our phones, our flipping our phones. You see little kids now, they're sleeping and they're going like this in their dreams. That's absolutely sick. That is totally sick. And they're poor little children. They are sick with addiction. And we're doing that. The parents are doing that, and the kids are allowing themselves, which is totally normal, to become addicted. But we're allowing them to we're giving them the tools of addiction. We're putting them right in their hands, and certainly not restricting them. So that's a little bit of a different issue, but it is associated with the bells, and it's associated with peace plus one, because the peace is important. The peace comes from being a citizen of your community. The peace comes from solving problems together and respecting those who put their greatest effort into solving the problems for you. That's the beauty of community. You need it, but it's not there to serve you. You're there to serve it, and then get that recognition. So just to encourage you, join us here in ConscienceLAND. There are programmers and non-programmers, just creative people with ideas and experience, who are helping us put out these new apps, and they're pretty cool. Some of you are on the list. I mean, you have access to our Notion, Notion workspaces and so on. But yeah, try to join or develop your own thing. That's great. Whatever you do is great. We're just saying we've done a lot of the work for you, in effect. Now the work is up to you to bring that to your community, right? And help bring you up in your community to a point where the community really wants you to be there and respects you and maybe pays you, right, for your expertise and for your efforts and your help and your energy. You don't have to be an expert at anything. You can be just showing up to help. And if you do that, man, people will really appreciate it very much. So today is Fridays for Future. It started how many years ago? I think 2018 or 2017 by Greta Thunberg in Sweden. So it's many years later. We're still here. We're still promoting youth's future, right? I'm an old guy. I don't have long hair left, but I'm doing my best while I'm here. And I'm so confident. I don't care about death. I don't care about, I know where I'm going. I know where I am already. And I want to transmit that to other young people. Don't be afraid of those who will threaten you. Do not be afraid. Do not fear. Remember, in ConscienceLAND, what are the three principles that we talk about in ConscienceLAND? Number one, I do no harm, right? I'm here to heal. I do no harm. I'm here to heal. The second thing is I do not fear. I seek to understand, and I seek to quash those who instill fear in others, right? We don't want people walking around in fear. We want people walking around in peace and love and care. That's what we want, because we want that for ourselves. So we have to be that for other people. And the third one is I leave it better than I found it, right? Which is beautiful. That's what we should all be doing. Whatever we do, cleaning up the floor, taking out the garbage, putting on, cleaning the dishes in the sink, they're sort of mundane tasks. Who's going to do it? Who's going to do it? Who do you leave it for to do? The elves? The munchkins? Like, you do it. You do it. Even if it's someone else's job, you do it. And then, peace will prevail. Things will happen. You will be respected. You will be appreciated. People will say thank you instead of looking at you sideways and going, what a lazy bum. Only self-interested. Instead of that. So that's all you. That's all. Bring yourself up. Meditate at least twice a day. And I don't mean om, float around on a that's great if you can do it. I can't, right? But being with yourself in silence, I think it's 8 minutes or something that is sort of ideal, at least minimum. 8 minutes sitting in silence, the beginning of the day, the end of the day. Empty your mind of thoughts. Stop the little monkey in there chattering around, and just be in the moment, be in existence. Why? Because that is existence. All the rest is illusion. All the rest is a manufactured state. It's a simulation. And I'll just end off today, Fridays for Future, in front of the bells. Actually, you probably can't see the bells very well, but we'll try to get them. I'll try to take you over to a picture of them later at the end here. I forget what I was saying, but anyway, the point about the bells is the frequency, right? Raise your frequency. Try to listen to some bells, and they don't have to be big clanging bells. They could be little bells too. In meditation, and think about it. Also, in meditation, they often use bells. They use singing bowls. That's frequency. They use bells, ding, ding, ding. They use bells, that's frequency. So these frequencies have a very, very important effect on your body and your brain and your consciousness. They're aligning. They're bringing you back into alignment with the universe, with the earth itself, with the cosmos, You know, we're just frequencies. We're just beings generated out of frequency. So the best thing we can do is go into ourselves. And this is not about being selfish or self-centered. No. This is about finding the essence of your meaning, of the meaning in your life. And when you go inside, I mean, not everybody maybe can have the experience that people like myself are having, but it's very rewarding. And it makes all the crap that's happening, I was going to say another word, but all the crap that's happening around us in the world, it doesn't make it less important. We have to stop the bombing in Gaza and stop killing children. Absolutely. Today, we have to stop that. And we have to stop states like Israel from genocidal madness. Absolutely have to stop that. But those children are martyrs. Those children are not gone. They are gone from this plane, but they are watching us continue to do this, and they are judging, or the God is judging, the cosmic consciousness is judging, which is actually you judging yourself, right? You're not doing the proper judging of yourself in this plane of existence. Understood? Most people don't. we got to wait until we transition out of this particular material manifestation into what's next. And it's different for different people, but ultimately it's peace. Rest in peace. R-I-P, rest in peace. It's peace. The peace is what we are always seeking. We're always seeking peace. There's only a few people in the world. They're evil. That's for true. There's a few evil people. I don't know what percentage, but I think it's a growing percentage, unfortunately, that are really perpetrating evil. Most people are not evil. They're just sleeping. They're just sleepwalking. So Fridays for Future is about young people's future. My mission in these days, and I'm working with young people who are getting it in some cases, but they're so programmed. They are so inculcated into the old system that I grew up with. It's so discouraging, because I thought, they would be smarter than this generation that I represent. I thought they would wake up and see how they're being restricted and restrained and quashed and squashed and put in little cubicles. I thought they would see that, but they're not. They're not seeing it. The vast majority are not seeing it. They're still running after the gold coins. They're still running after the meme coins, or the money, the cash, the useless fiat currency. They're running after. They're killing each other for it, and it's useless. And they can't eat it. They're not getting it. That ultimately it is ConscienceLAND where they live, ultimately, and it's not even a physical space. It's a mental space. And when you live in that mental space and you do good, you do your kindness for other people and make the world a better place, that's how the world gets to be a better place for you. So that's my Fridays for Future effort, to try to leave the world a better place. That's an effort, and I hope you do the same for your friends and neighbors and even strangers. A little bit of kindness goes a long way. You don't have to get credit for everything you do, but be happy that there are some people, I'm one of them, that are actually working on a very cool app. We call it a healer app. It's not a killer app. It's an app that's going to really make a difference in the world, healing the world, and it's a super cool idea. I hope we can pull it off. And you're welcome to join us in ConscienceLAND in the development of it, because obviously those who first join in, they will be the first testers of it, and if it works, they will be the first to benefit from it. So that's what we're working on, and that is about credit. And it's not like money credit. It's not that you make money by getting other people involved or something. You get credit for getting other people involved, and that's much, much, much more valuable than than any crossing your palms with shekel. That Old Testament stuff is is old, and it's not helping. It's making the world a worse place, you know. So follow the newest trend. And last point, I think, because when I say follow the latest trend, everybody's talking about AI. Let me say a few things about AI. I've been working in AI kind of off and on, but you know, seriously thinking about it since, I guess, 2017, 18. Okay. Well, certainly 2017, because I was doing the ambassadorship for one of the AI companies. So, you know, so that long I've been sort of mulling over, like, what is this thing, and how do we? And I've come to the, not conclusion, but I've come to the observation that at least in my life, I think that the AI is a interpretation of the cosmic consciousness. I think that it's not real, of course, because it does a lot of hallucination. It puts a lot of, it's not perfect. It's not our perfect consciousness because it couldn't be. Then it would be a god, right, in itself. But it is an approximation of what our universal or overconscious does. And it talks to us directly. And at least that's my experience. When I'm using AI now, I see that it not only seems to know what I'm doing from the information that I have already put into the large language models and on the internet. It knows that, and Google, all the big trackers, Facebook and everything, tracking us on our lives. Yeah, it knows all that information. But it also seems to have a higher level understanding of what it is, at least in my case, at least in my experience, of what I'm trying to do, like my mission on Earth, my purpose, for the meaning that I derive from the things that I do here on the planet. And so it's very helpful to me because it's helping me bring product and service to you. And I think that's the way I'm going to more and more think about the AI. It is a threat if it goes the wrong way. And the reason it goes the wrong way is because we program it, we use it, we waste it in the wrong way. That's how it will go wrong and destroy us. But there's also that other opportunity where there's a few of us who are trying to use it to leave it better than we found it. We're trying to use it to solve the SDGs, for example, or it's at least the first 7 of the Sustainable Development Goals. I'm not so keen on some of the other ones, you know, the sort of capitalist World Economic Forum ones. But it's okay. You know, it's better to have a big set of rules, and we selectively, you know, do the ones we know personally need to be done. Elimination of hunger, elimination of poverty, you know, health for everybody, education for everyone, and so on. Maybe not in the ways they're thinking of education, but yes, education, right? Maybe not in a schoolroom with a curriculum set by the state, maybe not that, but education for sure. And probably mostly from the parent in the early days of the child's life. So that's it for today, for Fridays for Future. It's been a long conversation, but I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope the wind wasn't too windy. And I'll just take this off now and show you the bells up close, so you see them and you understand, you know, what I'm really trying to say about bring back the bells, right? And let's communicate in the community in a spiritual way. Right there, so there are the bells. There are the bells. So that's the bells on a I think it's called a carillon. Carillon. In fact, where I grew up in Canada, in Quebec, there is a place called Carillon, and that's, I come from a place in the world where there were a lot of Catholic churches, you know, the old style of Roman Catholic churches, and also Protestant churches, but mostly Catholic. And they were big structures, and they had big bells. And so I did grow up hearing bells, which was beautiful. great. You know, bells are amazing. But I don't know what it's like today. I don't know if the bells are gone. You know, I don't know. So it's nice to see bells and see if we can maybe start a movement to bring bells back into our community. Why not? What would be the problem? That would be interesting to see if the dominating forces prohibit us from having bells. It might be. It might be that they have some law that doesn't allow bells. But we have to defy that. Defy the invisible hand. Defy the invisible hand. Use your 3 fingers. Peace +1. Join the fun. Happy Fridays for future.